mention journaling a lot in my videos as an act of self-care and a way to reflect. It is a practice that keeps me grounded, allows me mental clarity, and the space to make note of my feelings and thoughts in a safe way. There are many types of journaling: brain dumps or stream of consciousness writing, reflection, gratitude, visual and bullet journaling, and so many more. It is a practice that with so much variety has helped me substantially over the years, and I'd love to share with you some tips and tricks that I implement to make this a sustainable habit. As I mentioned, I have journaled for many years. I journaled sporadically when I was a teenager, but it wasn't until about 5 years ago that I began to do it consistently and with intention. I was recommended journaling by a therapist I was seeing at the time and was initially very hesitant about how much I thought it would actually do. I was experiencing anxiety and depression and couldn't fathom how just writing down my thoughts could be so helpful. But out of all of the practical advice I received, journaling has been the one I have relied on and come back to over and over again. Journaling can be used as a healthy coping strategy. In my journal, I am able to express how I'm feeling. I can vent my frustrations or my sadnesses, celebrate moments of happiness, and through the process of writing, dissect what I'm feeling with more mental clarity and distance. It allows me to look at a problem with a fresh perspective after getting my initial thoughts down. I'm able to see the bigger picture instead of being on a loop inside my own head of my inner thoughts and feelings, and therefore I can really begin to feel more grounded, more in control, and more at ease with the reality of any certain situation. It's also a mode of prevention. Through documenting my thoughts, feelings, struggles, emotions, etc., I'm able to see any emerging patterns or notice any distinct changes in my outlook or my behaviours. It allows me to see when I might experience a mood drop and perhaps when I can expect these to ebb and flow. It isn't always accurate, of course, but it can be helpful for tracking certain things like hormonal fluctuations or the effect of certain foods or exercises, or how we feel after interacting with certain people or places. From this, we're able to reflect on the patterns that we discover in our own lives. And from this, we can then more appropriately prepare ways to healthily deal with these things. It's kind of an organic and a healing way to collect data about yourself. So you've decided to start journaling. Now what? The first thing to do is to find something to write your thoughts down in. Some people journal on their phone or other devices, but I would strongly encourage going analog if you can. Having a designated space separate from the one you use to communicate or scroll and get easily sidetracked is so important for making your journaling time quality time with yourself. The most common method, of course, and the one that I use, is a notebook. Choose one that you already have if you've got a drawer full of them somewhere, or find one that fits your requirements. That could be one that looks different to the ones you use for work or school. You might decide to put a fun sticker on the front or choose one in a colour you really like. Or you may choose one that feels unimportant. When I was starting out, I used a notebook that I got as a freebie. This is it. The inside has honestly really bad paper. The cover is quite grubby and this was not precious to me at all. Importantly, I held absolutely no expectations for this notebook and therefore no expectations for what I had to write inside. If you are a perfectionist or feeling daunted by the thought of starting a beautiful notebook, then don't. Do not write in one that gives you those feelings. Choose a notebook that just simply has pages and get going with it. Once I established my journaling habit and began to value and enjoy the process, I began to invest a little bit more. And now I love to keep a journal that looks beautiful and feels really nice to pick up and use every single day. In order to stay consistent in the beginning, it can be helpful to designate a certain time of the day to get your thoughts out onto paper. You may choose to journal first thing in the morning, right before bed, or perhaps on a lunch or mid-afternoon break, depending on your schedule. You may decide that you want to take your journal out with you, or perhaps keep it as a strictly home-based practice. The right time and place to slow down and get your thoughts out is going to be different for all of us. I personally tend to journal before bed, and I have habit stacked that with my reading time. Not only am I off my screen right before I go to sleep, but I can also calm my mind in readiness for the next day and for a good night's sleep. As much as I rave about the good of journaling, it isn't an instant fix. Nor is it expected that you start by writing an hour a day. Start small, perhaps with 10 or 15 minutes at a time, until you build up a habit and get used to it. Going from no journaling to writing every single day can feel a little bit overwhelming, so keep it manageable and know that although your progress may be slow in the beginning, it all adds up, so don't be too hard on yourself. I can guarantee that a lot of us kept a diary in our teen years, I know I certainly did, that described our day-to-day lives in acute, tiresome detail. The breakfast we ate and the socks we wore, etc. Journaling does not have to be that. You don't have to record every little detail. Sometimes you may want to capture a specific moment in time in intense detail for preservation and future nostalgia. But most of the time it's completely unnecessary. If you don't want to, or you don't feel the need to record or process a certain event or thing, then you don't have to. It's your journal. In every single journal entry that I make, I like to make the effort to include at least 3 things that I'm grateful for. Gratitude is so powerful, especially when addressing our mindset. On good days or bad days, it offers us perspective, and I always think it's a nice way to round off a day. Out of all of these top tips that I'm giving you, I really think that this is the one that's the most important. Even if I don't have the time to sit down and spend 10 minutes or even half an hour writing in the evening, I'll at least mentally make a list of those 3 things that I'm grateful for that day. And it helps me stay accountable, realizing how lucky I am and how grateful I should be to live the life that I lead, even with all the different struggles that I encounter day to day. No one else is reading your journal. I'll say that again. No one else is reading your journal. Your journal does not have to be raw and insightful and deep and philosophical, full of these life-altering musings to quote and inspire. Your journal is important because it's yours. There's no right or wrong way to do it, so try not to worry about grammar, vocabulary, or using the same words over and over again, or whether what you're writing would be boring to another person or not. This is purely for you. The goal isn't to become a great writer, it's the process and its benefits to you that matter. If you're floundering or just struggling to know what to write, you can really easily find journaling prompts. You can find these everywhere, from general prompts to more focused ones. Things like having daily questions to refer back to can also be a really helpful starting point. For example, what are you grateful for? Do you have an affirmation for the day? Do you feel that anything is holding you back from having a great day today? The list is endless. You can always find these prompts online, and some of the places that I look to find them are on Pinterest, sometimes Instagram, as well as different blogs and YouTube videos. As I mentioned at the beginning, there are loads of different types of journaling, including stream of consciousness writing, reflection, gratitude, visual and bullet journaling. Some of them may not suit you, all of them may suit you, and some of them you may drift towards and away from depending on the season of life that you are in at the time. If you want to do more than one, you can choose to combine them into the same journal or keep different ones. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Do whatever works best for you and your brain. Lastly, be patient. Any habit takes time, but especially those that force us to be introspective and vulnerable. Show yourself grace and kindness as you embark on this new, possibly unfamiliar journey, and try not to be disheartened with the lack of immediate results. One of my favourite quotes, and especially one that I think is useful for moments of stagnancy, is progress over perfection. Everyone's progress looks different as we work through our own things, and it just takes time to get the best out of a method like journaling. Before we end, I just want to reinforce that although journaling is a wonderful thing, it may not be enough enough for everyone to achieve the appropriate levels of mental clarity and peace. If you're struggling with feelings of anxiety or depression, or just struggling to work through things on your own, then please reach out to a professional. It's a really courageous thing to ask for help when you need it, and I'll try and put some helpful links in the description box below if you'd like some online resources too. So to summarise, I absolutely love journaling, so much so that I thought, why not make a whole video about it and see if I can help someone else out there begin their own journey of self-discovery, healing and peace. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today, friends. I hope you enjoyed the video and that you are doing something to look after yourself and your mind today. Take care, and I will see you soon in another video. Goodbye.